Now the story of millions of your tax dollars in limbo tonight in Schoharie County. That is where a brand new athletic center was built last year, and you paid for it. The customers who used it said great things about it, but now, less than a year after it opened, it has closed, and no one is quite sure what happens next. I first started following this money trail months ago and interviewed the owner well before the facility closed. It was meant to help in the revitalization of Schoharie County after the devastation of Tropical Storm Irene. The Maranatha Family Center, a huge athletic center, a hoop court, soccer field, pool, lots of equipment, built on 23 acres right along Route 7 in Richmondville.
We really wanted to change the face of this county and provide them with some healthy alternatives.
Owner Stella McKenna did it with your money, a $2.3 million Restore New York grant to cover the cost of about half the facility. And the original paperwork for the project shows additional smaller government grants and loans totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars. There was trouble from the start. The rehab of an historic barn on the property was supposed to be a condition of the Restore New York grant. Instead, to the surprise of many, the barn was demolished. McKenna insists she had no choice.
The barn did sustain some damage that made it become unfeasible. We had architects and engineers and to do whatever we can to restore the barn, and how could we put this basically Humpty Dumpty back together again. And no matter what we came up with, it became basically non-feasible at that point.
And now the barn is not the only casualty. The center itself sits empty, unused, its doors locked when it ran out of customers and money. Bob Need of the Center for Sustainable Rural Communities in Schoharie County has been a vocal critic of the huge amount of public money thrown at this project.
Did the money go where it was intended? Were the terms and the conditions of the grant met? And was the allocation of public funds appropriately spent?
And that is the question now. Should a $2.3 million grant have gone to build a huge fitness center in a lightly populated area? And where was the oversight? The money was funneled through the town of Richmondville, but when I stopped by the town offices, no one was there to talk about it, and Town Supervisor Richard Lape has not returned my phone calls. Empire State Development handed out the $2.3 million grant. ESD basically says its role is done, explaining that a Restore New York grant is for the repair of blighted property that local communities feel will do the most good. In this case, quote, the redevelopment of this project was finished and Restore funds were fully dispersed. We hope the unfortunate issues with the Maranatha facility are resolved swiftly and successfully. And when you go to Empire State Development's webpage, you can see the Restore New York program is now out of money and not doling out any more grants.
Here we are at a time of budget cuts and program cuts. Everybody hears about it every day, whether it be the school system or the local government. So if we're going to allocate millions of dollars in public funds, we'd like to know that we can have confidence in that program and there's appropriate oversight to that money.
And it gets more complicated. A downstate investor is now telling the town he is willing to spend money to reopen this center, but because of the conditions of the Restore grant, the town must sign off on a waiver, and so far that's not happening. And that could all be complicated by this. These are papers I have obtained from the Schoharie County Clerk. It's more than 50 pages worth. Another state entity, the New York Business Development Corporation, which holds the note on the property, has now filed a foreclosure complaint against Maranatha, seeking $1.5 million. And I've just learned the state controller is auditing the town of Richmondville now. No specifics on what's being looked at, but that audit should be done sometime around March. So again, all your money still in limbo tonight.